Here now to discuss administration policy, foreign policy, Dr. Walid Phares, Fox News Middle Eastern Affairs analyst, also author of the book The Coming Revolution, Struggle for Freedom in the Middle East, Jonathan Schanzer from the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Jonathan, good to have you with us. Let me ask for your immediate reaction to the Defense Secretary when it comes to Syria, that we are 1 inch away from war. Were you shocked?
Well, I have to say, if you looked at the text, if you listened to the Defense Secretary, I don't think we really were 1 inch away from war.
No, I didn't ask you if I didn't ask you if we are.
Right.
Were you shocked by the? Excuse me. Were you shocked by the Defense Secretary saying that?
Yes, I mean, I was, because when you look a little deeper here, what he says is that, the United States will take no unilateral action, that we're going to wait for our allies for international consensus before we take any action there. So what this is basically saying is that the policy has stayed the same, that we are still going to be standing on the sidelines. Well, more than 11,000 people have been killed, and we're going to be waiting for permission from the likes of Russia or China before taking a step.
Walid, do you agree that that is the effect of what is happening here under the Obama administration's policy towards Syria?
It's true. Let me add that the Secretary, when asked who's going to replace Assad, because that's the real end game of the equation, he wasn't sure about who the opposition was and who was to be dealt with and who would become the partner. If we don't have a clear vision of who are the forces of the opposition, who are the seculars, who are the Islamists, who are the minorities, then we are in deep trouble, because it means that we don't have a strategic view as to who to engage in order to bring down the Assad regime.
And to that end, Jonathan, without Syria, to what end? Frankly, in either Iraq or Afghanistan?
Well, Lou, I think you raise a good point, and I think, there's a lot of skepticism about whether we ought to be putting troops on the ground and putting our men and women in harm's way. And I think on that point, I think, there's a very good argument against intervention, but that doesn't mean that there's nothing that we can do. We can create no-fly zones. We can create safe havens. We can potentially arm the opposition. There are lots of things that we can do, and I don't have all of the answers. But the thing that we're hearing right now from the administration is that they don't know who the opposition is. At this point, more than a year into this uprising, that's become our policy. Our policy is to not know the opposition, and that's what troubles me. We need to find a partner, and this administration has not found one yet.
Partners were found in Afghanistan, Walid. Partners were found in Iraq. Right now, this president and this administration had called for Hosni Mubarak to leave as the leader of Egypt. We don't know who the leaders are today. We don't seem to have a clear-cut policy in Afghanistan. And frankly, a lot of Americans tremble with, if not fear, uncertainty when we talk about the prospect of intervening in Syria, for crying out loud.
Look, the administration, on the one hand, is sending a message that they really don't know who the partners are, and at the end of the day, winning a war is to end that war. Reality is, on the ground, they knew exactly who their partners were in Egypt. When they brought down Mubarak, or helped to bring down Mubarak, who's in charge? The Muslim Brotherhood. Right. Same goes for Libya.
And I want to interject here, if I may. Walid Phares said precisely that here on this broadcast in the days and weeks leading up to that ultimate eventuality.
Absolutely. And let me add one thing for Afghanistan, since you're opening the file. Yes, they know who their partners are in Afghanistan. It's not Karzai. It's the Taliban. They have been talking for 3 years about partnering with the Taliban. And obviously, when you do that, nobody's going to fight in Afghanistan for us. If we are sitting down with the Taliban without having real partners on the ground, who's going to be our ally in Afghanistan?
Jonathan Schanzer, you get the last word here. Your expectations as to what will unfold in the case of Syria.
Well, I think by relying on Kofi Annan and the United Nations, I think what we've basically done is opened up a new dialogue with the Assad regime. After saying that we weren't going to have a dialogue, we've provided deadlines, which has opened up now to a further discussion that has only bestowed further legitimacy on a man that we've already said we want to see walk. So I think this is basically a diplomatic quagmire that is going to result in thousands more dead, and we're onlookers here right now, and that is a real shame the United States is not taking more of a leadership role.
Jonathan, thank you very much. Walid, thank you very much.